Ladies and gentlemen, happy Tuesday. We're good to be back here. We took a little break. We've been snoozing for a little bit on this Tuesday streams. We had some copyright issues. We had a bunch of bullshit to deal with. But I'm back here tonight with someone I've been really looking forward to talking to. Someone I just got to see for the first time in Nashville, Mr. Guthrie Trapp. And so grab a beverage, get your questions ready. He's going to share some of his favorite tracks with us. I see everybody jumping in the chat. And we're going to start off. This one's for you, brother. This is a little Robben Ford. The Tiger Walk. Beware what's happening. Guitar Dog, good to see you. Fishing, always a pleasure. Cashew. Yeah, MR, we're going to talk about that. Thank you, Beware. Chad, how are you? I hear you, inbox. Yeah, US, we'll do it. Howdy, Mr. Tonic. Oh man, go ahead and unmute yourself, Guthrie. Figure we start out with a little Robben Ford for you, man.
That's my favorite, man. You know, he lives about 2 blocks from me over here in East Nashville.
Yep.
And I see him at the coffee shop all the time, and we've become friends, and I've done his interview and stuff like that. And sorry, guys, for this blurry photo here. I don't know what's going on with my I promise you I'm not on dial-up here, but I don't know what's going on.
Hey,
anyway.
No worries. I'm in my living room. You know, I got a random lamp behind me. We're good.
I know it's crazy, but so I see Robben all the time, and I had coffee with him last year before COVID, and just up the corner here, and we talked for about 2 hours, and you know, I finally started asking him a couple questions after just shooting the shit for a while, and I said, man, I got to tell you, you know, obviously I'm a huge fan of your play, and I can tell you the guy that played me your first record, what kind of car I was sitting in, where it was, and because it totally changed my life. I heard that first Blue Line record, and it blew my mind. And so I told him, I said, man, you know, I love Tiger Walk. I said, man, that's like some of the most incredible guitar playing, soulful, expressive, toneful playing I've ever heard in my life, especially that one that you just played, that title track. If you haven't heard that, guys, get on there and listen to it. It's life-changing. And so he goes, man, he goes, I got to tell you, when I was in the process of making that record, he said he hated it. And when he went into the control room to listen back to those tracks, he was like going crazy and wasn't digging it. He said now it's his favorite record that he's done.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah, I had the privilege of seeing him a few times when I lived out in California and went to GIT, and you know, even a nicer guy than he is a monster player, just absolutely tremendous in every way, and one of those guys that for me just really bridged the gap between that you know, mixing major and minor country and blues playing, and just always had a freaking memorable line that just got stuck in my head, you know, and just keeping it simple but yet so tasteful. Just I figured that that'd be the perfect way to start with you.
He's got it all, man. He's got everything that we love about guitar playing, and it's perfect to me. I saw that bass player and that band in Ireland at the Dublin Blues Festival, man, when I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
I always remember that bass player because I was like, this guy's got a crazy haircut, and he's rocking out.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, it's funny that you have these heroes, and then your paths not only cross, but now I'm friends with about 80% of my childhood heroes, and I've
How
got to
cool is that?
Nashville. It's amazing. This town is incredible, man. It continues to be absolutely incredible.
Man, so let's talk about Nashville. So I was just there, just saw you, just did the Summer Nam thing. It was my first time really spending time there. And really the first time that my wife and I had ever gotten to get away for more than a night or two since we really became parents. And so we were staying downtown, and we just went for it, just full send, right?
Yeah.
And had a great time. And everybody told me, that I needed to come to Kitchen and see you. So we came up that one night, and then the rest of the night, I found myself, because everybody told me that's where I have to go because they know I dig that type of music, is go see Luke McCreary at Roberts, and someone just dropped it into the comments that the amount of incredible guitar players, musicianships in general, that have gone through that Don Kelly band and through that thing. I just felt like I was in a freaking time warp, but there was like nowhere else I wanted to go. It's like it was so refreshing to just get some straight up loud amplifiers and just unapologetic, like take it to your face guitar playing, and like it was just so celebrated there. And man, I can't wait to go back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've got a special place in my heart for Roberts. I mean, when I first moved to Nashville in 2002, I didn't know anything else to do. I mean, I knew a bunch of people here at that point, but they can't really help you because you can't take a chance on a new kid, even though you know him. It's like he's got to spend some time here doing some stuff. And so none of the songwriters I knew really helped me out a whole lot. I had to do it on my own. So all I knew to do was go down to this place called Roberts and hear this band called the Don Kelly Band. So I went down there in the dead of winter for months and stood in the doorway and listened to Johnny, play, and I got to know the whole
Johnny Highland.
Johnny Highland. So they all knew me as the guy that would come down there and hang out in the doorway and drink beer and listen to the band. So
how old were you here?
I was probably 20. I was like 23 or something like that.
I was fortunate enough to take a couple lessons with Johnny Highland when I went to GIT.
Nice.
Oh, that dude just, man, I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
It's one of the kindest people, just unbelievable player. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, he is. And so, I'd go down there. So met everybody. So I finally told Don, I said, hey, man, look, if Johnny can't ever do this gig, I'd love to sub. I'd love to be a sub. I had a band on the Gulf Coast. We were doing a bunch of country, blues, swing, jazzy kind of stuff, original music, and all this kind of stuff. And so I said, I came from a band that we were doing a lot of high octane playing. I said, I can play this gig if you ever need somebody. And he was like, oh yeah, we don't ever let anybody sit in, and thanks for coming down every night. But it's like you're a cool dude, but we don't ever.
But no.
But no. And so finally one night, one of those songwriters from the Floribama that I knew, and then Don knew him as well. Me and Don were out on the sidewalk talking, and this guy walked up, and he goes, Don, have you ever heard this kid? And Don goes, no, but he's here every night, And Joe goes, well, man, you ought to get the guy up to sit in sometime. And Don goes, oh, really? And he goes, all right, man. He goes, come down next week on like a Sunday evening, and we'll get you up. And I said, all right. So I came down there with like this Guild hollow body I had. I don't know why. Don't ask me why I didn't take a Telecaster, because I was already playing Telly at that point. And
did he just look at you like, what are you doing?
No, you know what? I took that Guild hollow body down there because Don loves the blues, and they were doing a lot of blues and jump blues and stuff too, as well as the country shuffles and train beats and shit like that. And so,
yeah.
And I just thought, I don't know why I did it, but I did. And Don ended up loving that because it was different, and he knew I loved the blues. And people consider me a country guitar player. I'm not a country guitar player. I'm a guitar player, and I like to play good music. So if the song is country, I'm going to play country. If the song is Delta Blues, I'm going to play Delta Blues.
Yeah.
So, whatever. So I got up and played, and then eventually he goes, hey, Johnny's leaving. If you want the gig, you can have it. And I said, well, of course I do. So that was like, as soon as I joined the Don Kelly Band, some year, 6 months, 8 months a year after living in Nashville, I immediately had street cred on Broadway as being the new guy in town, and then the rest is history,
And when you did it, was it the same thing it is now, where like it's a Thursday to Sunday, every week, right as the rain kind of thing?
Yeah, it overlapped. A year or so into that gig, I started getting work with Patty Loveless and Jerry Douglas years later, and all this stuff kind of overlapped. But the timeline with Don was I played 4 nights a week for 4 hours a night for 4 years.
Yeah. You're gonna get good doing that, man.
My chops were unstoppable at that point. But
Yeah, yeah,
everybody that plays in that band's chops are at the peak that they're going to be in that band, because you're never going to play that much anymore. I mean, once you leave that gig, you're going to go play for an hour with somebody. You're not going to play 4 hours a night, 4 days a week for 4 years straight. I mean, man, I was blistering at that point,
yeah. And I was talking to the guy that now has that gig, Luke McCreary.
Good friend of mine. He's a great kid.
Dude, he's great. And I was like, hey man, like, don't get me wrong, like this is like bitching. Like I've been here 2 nights in a row. It's like I'd love to hear you rip over like something really slow,
Right.
And just see it on the side. And he goes, yeah, can't really do that here. We got to keep it pretty feisty.
Yeah. It's high octane down there, man. And
yeah.
Luke is, and I'll just say it, of all the guys that have been through that band, Luke is my favorite. I mean, he's got it going on, man. That kid can play, and his dad's cool. He's cool. His dad was a guitar player, still is, and he's just a nice dude. I mean, I see him all over town. We're buddies, and I like that guy, man. He can play the blues, he can play country, he can play music, he can play slide. I mean, he's just he's a well-rounded musician already.
Totally. Well, dude, like I mentioned before in the email, the whole kind of like theme of this channel is it's all organic and people sharing what they're listening to, what got them started, what's keeping them motivated. It's all about just getting everybody to continue to pick the thing up every day and find some new stuff that they might otherwise not know about. So, like I said, I asked my guests to bring some tracks with me. With you when you come here.
I love that question, man. I mean, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to say this real quick. Obviously, me and you and all our peers, we do a lot of podcasts and interviews and stuff like that. And I love being prompted with questions because I can go off. But what I love about you, man, when you sent that email and you said, find some of your most obscure stuff on YouTube that you like, man, I love that, because that's what we all want to do, is share all this shit that we listen to,
Yeah, and I mean, and all of us want is to find something we don't know about,
It was a little project that I had to get together pretty quick this afternoon,
It is, it's a really good format. It works out well, but obviously, like I mentioned, we gotta keep it live. This is a live music channel, and keep it away from the official stuff, because we've had more than our fair share of copyright issues. But
I can imagine. Yeah, I tried to go as off the radar as possible.
Dude, I'm so into it. So with that one, your first pick, do you want to go in order or do you want to jump around?
Let's go in order. I don't care.
All right, so check this out. So your first pick, you got Mike Henderson Band, Bluebird Cafe, Nashville.
This was last night, by the way.
Yeah, 753 views. So tell me what we're about to listen to here.
Okay, this is, I'll give you the quick rundown. This is Mike Henderson, who's playing the Silvertone slide guitar, tuned down to open C with cable car strings on it. Huge. Okay. And so he's playing through an old white basement head through like a PV212 cabinet with a Pabst Blue Ribbon cardboard baffle in front of it, right, that he made out of beer crates.
I mean, come on.
So that's Pat O'Connor, a legendary blues drummer from that's been in Nashville forever. He is from St. Louis, and so he was I think he was a mailman and stuff like that. But anyway, he's been playing this gig forever. Steve Mackey on the bass from John Oates, who I work with him with John Oates. Played with him a million times with. He's been with Peter Frampton, the Wallflowers Jewel, tons of country sessions here, Delbert McClinton, all these guys. Total badass. And then on the keys is Kevin McKendry from Delbert, Brian Setzer produced records on Little Richard. There's all kinds of stuff. These are the insider cats in Nashville, especially the bass player and the piano player as far as session guys. Now, Mike Henderson is a killer songwriter as well as being this blues man. He writes with Chris Stapleton. They founded the Steel Drivers together. So he's also he's a bluegrass guy. He plays bluegrass and all this stuff, but he's an amazing blues man from St. Louis, Missouri. And so these guys have been doing this. Mike's been doing this gig at the Bluebird for over 30 years. And one of the stories is Mark Knopfler. Chet Atkins took Mark Knopfler to the Bluebird to hear the Blue Bloods back when Mike Henderson called it the Blue Bloods. And it was Clem Worf on bass and John Gardner or Chad Cromwell on drums and all these guys. And so it might have been John Gardner on drums, actually. But Mark Knopfler walked in and hired the entire band on the spot. He goes, I want these guys to go on the road with me. And he hired them all on the spot and took them on the road with him.
Holy shit. All right.
Mike Henderson's written some amazing songs for tons of hit country guys too, but this is his blues project, and this is what he's been doing forever, and it's amazing. Watch this. This is the shit right here.
Well, you really teed this up, man. Yeah. Are we starting from the beginning, going all the way through? You got a timestamp?
Very beginning, yeah.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I guess that was it. It just cut off.
That's about it. That was on that. The reason why it's like this is because I was just doing an Instagram story in there, and but that's one of my favorite when he does that solo intro. That's some of the greasiest, most syncopated shit ever, man. I mean, he's the guy. He's the cat.
Yeah, that really was. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole band, I was digging this snare work, man.
You're right. That snare work is killer, man.
That frickin' makes the whole thing for me. I was like, wow, we are just swimming in the swamp.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Guthrie Trapp on here. He's got a few more tracks. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. And if anybody wants to super chat or donate, know that I always split my donations with all my guests. So let's see if anybody else threw something in the side here. Let's see. You know what? While they come up with questions, let's go on to your second one here.
Sure.
You gave me more than 4 or 5, so let's go through this. That was killer. It must be so great to live there and be able to do that all the time. You know?
Pretty incredible, man. I mean, people are starting to, there's talk of doing some, documenting some of what my life is like here in Nashville, because it's incredible being a guitar player here, but I've kind of gotten into doing all this other stuff, and it's leading to some pretty incredible things. I mean, I'm getting approached to do, some TV stuff and stuff like that, which it's just because people see that I'm out hanging and making all these great friends and doing all this stuff, and not everybody's doing that here. So I'm really lucky that I'm lucky that I've kept my life kind of the way it is to be able to do that. I moved here to play music. I didn't move here to start a family. And so I'm 42 years old. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I live in this house by myself, and I still love every minute of it. I love going out every night and listening to this music and being able to light on my feet. I feel like I'm 22 years old again still,
That is amazing.
I'm a lifer, man. I'm a lifer.
So on that note, I'm curious because I follow your Instagram and some of the other things that you do.
Yeah.
You've been really posting a lot of stuff about fitness lately and like how it correlates to like your playing and just your basic whatever. So for someone that, like you said, goes out all the night and is all the time and is on the scene and working their butt off, is that something that kind of like, had to happen, came from necessity? Because it seems like it's really a big part of what you're doing these days.
Yeah, it's turned into that, and I'm not a fanatic about it. And what I do and what I did is very easy. And so I'm not a fitness nut. I'm not a nutrition knowledgeable about nutrition. I don't know anything about what I'm doing here. All I did was I started getting uncomfortable. I'd been eating and drinking my way through Nashville for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I've never been a fat guy or a big guy. And so, but it was just, I was getting, face was getting puffy, and I'm starting to feel bad. And, a lot of drinking and a lot of late nights and a lot of parties and a lot of gigs, and just that lifestyle I'm the poster child for being a guitar player. And so, I mean, and I love to do it and I'm good at it, but it started.
Dude.
Not the guitar, but the nightlife.
You and me both, man.
Man. And so it started getting a little like 2020 was really a really good year for me because of all this online stuff that I've been doing education wise. And so I was making more money and working less in 2020 than I ever have. And that was just like I was traveling and doing a lot of partying. And man, I finally just got to the point where I was like, man, I have got to take a break here. And so, but before that, I did kind of lose about 25 pounds. I hired a coach here. This buddy of mine's a guitar player, and he does a bunch of coaching and stuff. And he just gave me a real simple plan. And he said, look, man, if you stick to this plan, you're going to hit your goal in 2 months. And I came in like a week before the goal. I dropped like 22 or 23 pounds. And it's real simple. You just got to stick to it.
Yeah, dude.
You don't have to count. You don't have to count and weigh food out and come up with these really elaborate smoothies and shit. It's not that. It's like don't eat starch and get off the couch. That's it. It's really simple. I was drinking vodka and tequila like a crazy person all through those 2 months I was doing that. And so you don't have to stop drinking to lose the weight. You just have to change what you're drinking a little bit if you're a drinker. And then it's been 48 days now since I've had any alcohol, so I'm feeling great. I'm getting more done, less anxiety. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah,
good.
the anxiety is a big one, man. So why did you take 48 days off?
Well, I didn't put a number on it. I mean, I might quit forever, or I might start next week. I don't know. I'm just taking a break, and I'm not trying to put any cap on the timeline, because then you get inside your head and you go, oh God,
Sure.
you know, I just rather go, hey, for right now I'm taking a break, and it's, you know, day to day I go, I haven't really found an excuse to. You know, before it was like everything was an excuse to celebrate and party. And like I'd go in and order a drink before I even thought about it. It was just a habit. Of course, we'll have a drink. You know, we're in Nashville. We just played a gig, or we just hung out with so and so, and we're out and we're doing it. Well, this is what we're doing. Now it's like I go out and I have just as much fun.
Yeah.
If not more fun, because I'm more clear and more energetic. And then, you know, waking up the next day, I feel great. I feel the same. But I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, you know, I mean, there's always an excuse for a celebration, and so now I'm like,
especially in Nashville,
there hasn't been anything that's been a big deal enough for me to go, oh, okay, let's have a cocktail, you know. So I don't know.
No, dude.
I just know I needed to take a break, because I could see that it wasn't going to end well, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been able to juggle it for a long time, but I could see like this was not going to end well. You know?
Yeah, dude, I've gone back and forth on that fence an uncountable amount of times. I mean, we all have. I get it. It's good to know you can still take a break. I always did the sober January thing.
Yeah.
But this year in the pandemic, well, my wife was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, right. Oh, and it's not like I'm not waking up in the morning and chugging vodka in the gutter or anything, but
sure.
I can flip the switch and go, okay, I'm done. I'm taking a break, and it's done. I can I can stop and flip the switch. But when I do drink, I want to go for, you know, hours, or you know, not a couple of days. You know, 'cause guess what? It's fun. I'm not going to say it's not any fun.
Oh, good to talk to one of your own. All right,
be careful out there.
Yeah, dude.
Be careful out there, kids.
Be careful. It's hard out there. Evan, yes, Nashville's awesome. I'm from Baltimore, Evan. Mr. Tonic says, Frankton's a Nashville regular. Ever get to hang out with him?
You know, I've never met Peter Frampton, but the guy that was playing bass in that last clip, Steve Mackey, one of my dear brothers here, he was out on the road and did some recording with Peter Frampton. I've never met him, though. I mean, I hear he's a great dude. I've never met him.
Yeah. Guitar Dog, thanks for the donation. He said, Love the little stream that he called it Kitchen. That was a killer set. Yeah,
that was fun.
And Guitar Dog, thanks for coming out and saying hello with your son the other day and sharing a beer. I went to this dock bar and knew that he lived nearby, and he met me. So thank you for that. I really appreciate all of you that come and say hi.
Where are you at now? Are you in Baltimore now?
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore. I'm not in the city. I'm like 45 minutes north of the city in a very rural area. Are you coming through here? Are you touring at all anytime soon?
Not that I know of. I've just booked some stuff with John Oates for later in the year, and then whatever happens around that, I'm happy to go do it, but not as far as I know.
I thought I saw Hall and Oates of date come by, but you're not doing that gig, right?
I'm not doing that gig. My friend Shane Terrio is guitar playing and band leading in Hall and Oates. He's also a fantastic guitar player from New Orleans.
I don't think I know him. I need to know him.
Yeah, I'll send you his info. He'd be a good person to have on here.
Love it.
Really great. Yeah, man, that's cool.
All right. Well, next one, and I'll go through here and get some questions together.
Okay.
You got the spoon slide guitar. What do we got here?
Have you seen this before?
Negative.
Okay. All right. Good.
Just hit it?
From the get-go, yeah.
All right. Jesus. I mean, I that one caught me off guard, man. There's a lot in there. Oh, dude.
I was kind of hoping it would, man. I mean,
Oh my God. Um, no, that's great. That's great, and I love the settings, like sitting on a cinder block or something.
there's nothing around him. There's not even a power line out there.
Yeah. Um, dude, love it. All right, I've seen a lot of people come in. I got Ryan O'Donnell Guthrie, fantasy. They both want to know, like, people maybe look at you as a country player, but what's maybe one of your biggest blues influences?
Oh man, I mean all the cats. I think like oh god, man. Well, Robben Ford's
Yeah,
one. That because I'm 42, so I mean I know Robin's more of a modern guy, but I love that stuff. I mean Albert
yeah,
King. I love Albert King, of course.
hell yeah,
All the Kings, BB, Freddie. But I'll tell you what I was influenced a lot by the West Coast jump blues. We used to play a lot of that stuff on the Gulf Coast. This harmonica player down there hit me to all this stuff like Junior Watson and Hollywood Fats and all these West Coast jump blues guys that are. It's all about the tone and they're swinging real hard and they'll do like some jazz kind of lines and stuff, but it's still really kind of gut bucket at the same time. If that makes
yeah,
sense. It's like T-Bone Walker kind of influence and all Chicago blues and all this stuff together kind of created this West Coast jump blues kind of it's not zoot suit swing
yeah, yeah.
kind of bandwagon shit. This is like real badass shit. Like Hollywood Fats and these guys were gangsters, man. And they're that whole scene out there they're some really good blues. And so I like a lot of those guys.
So wait, real quick. So when you say when you used to play there on the Gulf Coast, is that where you're from?
I was born in Pensacola, Florida, and raised where I call Floribama. It's right on the Florida-Alabama state line on the Gulf.
Okay.
Straight south of Nashville, about 8 hours.
Gotcha. And so how long were you playing down there before you moved up to Nashville?
I mean, I started playing down there. I started getting into music when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and then I was playing some live gigs around 11, 12, and then I was like 13 or so when I started playing in mandolin in a bluegrass band.
Yeah.
Down there on the Gulf, and we played every Wednesday night on Pensacola Beach at the Sunray Taco Shop, man. And I remember I took acid and went out there one night.
Yeah.
And be careful out there, kids.
I do know.
Be careful at the taco shop. But no, but for real, I went out there and I'd play bluegrass with these old guys, and then got into playing with a bunch of singer-songwriters down there. I never learned any cover music because I grew up playing a bunch of bluegrass and folk music and all that kind of stuff. And then I played electric guitar at the same time. My uncle had all these instruments laying around because he was a self-taught musician. So I never learned how to play any Beatles songs or Led Zeppelin songs or hard rock, 80s rock or classic rock songs. I mean, I didn't learn how to do that. So I think that plays a big part in kind of the way that I approach playing the guitar. I don't know any of these parts from any of these classic rock songs or anything. So I kind of just played music,
That is so fascinating because that means so for those of us that did kind of, grow up, the way I always like to put it is like in Riffland, you know what I mean? Where like all these classic tunes or whatever, they're all these riffs. And so for those of us that grew up like that, and especially had teachers that just showed us note for note and tab shit and didn't explain anything, as basic as it might sound, learning to think in terms of progression and chord function and connecting them with melodies like that was a struggle. And so you kind of like started in that vein. And I when I went to GIT, that's when I first fell in love with bluegrass, and that was like the first kind of step out of that heavy metal classic rock riff land that I was in forever. Right. I'm a huge bluegrass fan. Huge.
Yeah.
My still, like most of the time that I am improvising or when I feel like I'm being too guitar centric, I go back and learn fiddle tunes. Like my favorite improviser of all time is Vassar Clements. You know.
Oh yeah, I got to play some gigs with Vassar Clements before.
No, you didn't. Tell me about that.
That was when I first moved to town. That was like that was probably like 2 years after I moved here. I got a call to play in his like jazz band.
Yeah, right.
And his keyboard player called me, and me and Tim Marks, who's still a really good bass player, friend of mine here. He played on the first Taylor Swift record. Him and my buddy Nick Buda on the drums. So we got called to play with Vassar, and we did some gigs. Man, we played probably 5 or 6 gigs with him. One of them was driving down to Georgia and playing this lumber barons party out in the middle of nowhere. And it was our band with Vassar Clements, and Taj Mahal was the other guy.
Yeah.
And so we ended up standing out in a field in July, and it's some like big lumber barons like antebellum house down there. That he built. It was brand new, and it was like a barbecue, and they had a full blown PA and had Taj Mahal and Vassar Clements as the band. So
I mean, so how old was Vassar at that time, you think?
God, he had to be in his 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, had to be in his 70s.
Still slick?
Still playing really good, man. Really cool tunes, and just a cool, super cool guy.
Yeah.
I think he was smoking a pipe at that point.
Yeah, right.
But I got to work with a bunch of those people, man. Of course, I toured with Jerry Douglas for like 6 or 7 years. And Newgrass Revival was my mom and dad's favorite band, with Sam Bush and Bela Fleck and all those guys. So I got to know all of them as like I was 8 years old when I met Sam and Bela for the first time.
Wow.
And just got to know those guys. And Sam hooked me up with Jerry, and we ended up going out and opening up for Paul Simon for 3 months, and did all this crazy stuff, and got to hang with.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we had lunch with Steve Gadd every day for like 3 months, and hung with all the guys in Paul's band.
How is Steve Gadd to have lunch with? Does he eat real slowly and like, you know?
He's incredible. Well, he was in shape at that point. He was out jogging every day, and so.
Oh no, I'm sure.
Healthy and just as cool as he could be. All the African guys, you know, Vincent Nagini and Bukithi Kamalo and all those guys. We see them every day, all day long, hanging out and eating lunch with them. They had full catering and massage and like the whole 9 yards. It was Paul Simon, and we were right there in the middle of it, because Jerry is like I think James Taylor called him the Muhammad Ali of the dobro. He's the greatest that's ever lived on that instrument.
Yeah.
And has recorded with Paul, and they're friends. And so
yeah,
the opening act, but it wasn't like, hey, these kids down the hall. It was like, hey, these guys are with Jerry Douglas. They were like, okay, they can sit at our table, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, he's this rock band opening up for us. That like, we don't know who these guys are. Management put them on. This was like a more connected kind of relationship. And so we loved it, man. I mean, it was like, you know, Paul would come off the stage, and I'd be walking out there for a sound check, and he'd go, how is it out there? And I'd go, well, it's a little chilly, man. You might want to get a sweater or something, you know. We would just shoot the shit like that, very light stuff, you know.
Man,
pretty wild.
What a life, man. I could listen to these stories all night.
A couple nights ago, I had Dennis Quaid come out and sit in with us at the Station Inn, and then had lunch with Oates and hung out with him a couple days ago, and talked to Billy on the phone. These are like my new friends. Look, just when you think Nashville's about to fall apart in 2020, you're injected with another boost of new friends and new experiences, and it just proves that this town is like, I've had those things happen. I mean, every day I'm reminded why I live here in some way, you know.
That
even if you're broke down on the side of the interstate in August and you're trying to change the tire, that didn't happen to me, but I'm just saying, if you did, you'd be so disgusted and pissed off at the world, but something would happen that day, and you'd go, oh yeah, I love it. I love living here. This is why I live here, you know.
Man, I love it.
It's cool.
A lot of people are asking me what's behind you. Is that a Blackface Pro or Deluxe?
Well, that's a cow horn that came from Texas somewhere. That's a vintage Mexican blanket from Tucson that came from like 1943. Oh, you mean the amps? Oh. Are you saying you guys want to get tubular? Is that what you're saying?
I think they just want confirmation.
Okay, so I'll show you this. I don't know what's going on with I just bought this brand new MacBook Pro, and it looks like I'm like plugged into a black and white TV here.
You're perfect.
So there's my old Pro Reverb. I've had that Pro Reverb since I was about 16 years old. It's been in a bunch of car wrecks with me.
Really?
And stuff. Yeah, that amp right there, if it could talk, I would either be in prison or dead. So That's Tim O'Brien's mandolin that he loaned me and never came back to get, that octave mandolin.
Yeah.
So that's the Pro Reverb 1966. That's my Vibrolux reverb. And then a couple little Vox amps that they gave me for fun. And then there's my Princeton reverb that I do all my little videos with, and my old, or my 335, the Gibson custom shop. That's about it. I'm not a huge gear person. I just, you know.
Yeah. Tomo says hi. You know Tomo?
Yeah. Hey, buddy. We got to catch up soon. I'm sorry I've been out of touch.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tomo.
You guys killing it, man.
Oh, dude. He is so clean and tasteful, and one of the nicest guys ever. I just talked to him 2 days ago.
Love that guy.
Love that guy. Can't wait to meet him. Can't wait to meet all of these people in person that I'm meeting on the internet. It's amazing. Will you go to Winter NAMM?
No plans of now, but that could change. I might go out there and just take a little vacation, and it's a good excuse to go get some sunshine always.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's usually January and February are usually brutally cold here in Nashville, and so it's lovely to go out to beautiful sunny Anaheim.
Yeah, man. I obviously in Baltimore, winter sucks, and the past 2 years I used to stay right in the middle of it, and the past 2 years I said, do what?
Yeah, down at the like ground zero, like the Hilton or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was tired of waiting for 50 people in front of me at the elevator and to get coffee in the morning and all that, and being in the rat race. So the past 2 years, I've actually just stayed out on the beach and Ubered in and out whenever I felt like it. Is way better.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so I want to get to your educational stuff you've been doing, but before we do that, I want to play your next track here that you brought, and that is one of my favorites, Jack Pearson here. So what do you have queued up for us?
This is so hard, man, because sorry, my shirt's all fucked up here.
It's all right. You should really worry about it. You should be totally upset.
Thanks, man. Jack's a good friend. Of course, all these guys are my friend from being here for so long. But Jack's a good buddy, and he's a Nashville native. He's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, about 20 minutes down the road. And this guy's one of the greatest living musicians on the planet. He's worked with Jimmy Smith and all these amazing jazz musicians. But he's his own artist. He's a great singer. He's a great songwriter. Yeah, and the guy can absolutely. He's an outer body player. He's a freak of a talent, and he plays mandolin, acoustic guitar, gypsy jazz, any kind of music you throw at him. He's just a natural, and so he's a real character. And so it's real hard to pick one Jack Pearson clip because there's so many directions. This guy. All I can say to you, friends, is get on YouTube, pull up some Jack Pearson, and have fun going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, man. All right, this is 10 minutes. We're not going to do all of it. Where do you recommend we jump in?
Maybe start at the beginning and then jump to the middle or something.
All right. I'm going to start this, and let's go. You could unmute, man.
That goes on and on and on for days, you know.
It's like an unlimited well. It's like, man, I didn't know how much I needed to see that tonight. That yeah, as soon as he kicked on the juice, man, and
Oh
just
man, I mean,
oh,
he goes from West Montgomery to whatever. I mean, it's not it's West influence, but I mean, it's this just beautiful buttery front
it's
tone.
so
And by the
buttery.
way, he's playing a Fender Squire Telecaster.
I know that. So like, so you know him, you're friends. Uh, what's the deal with the Squire, and what else is he playing through? I mean, like that is just screaming.
Yeah, he uses a tube screamer,
Yeah,
and he'll use a Phase 90 every once in a while, and that's about it. No pedals hardly. And
yeah,
then he uses he's got this for a long time. When I first moved to Nashville, and I saw Jack for the first time when I came up here for the summer guitar workshop, I was like 15 years old, and I heard him, and he changed my life like Robben did. I was like, this is amazing.
yeah.
And so got to be friends with Jack later on, but when I first saw him, he was using a Yamaha solid state head, and it sounded incredible. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And so then now he's got this Jack Pearson model Lindy Fralin VVT or VHT, something like that. It's a combination of these things. It's a big white 115 amp that's about 40 watts or so, and it's got reverb. And you can get them down here at the um, North American Guitar, which used to be Cotton Music, down in Wedgwood, Houston, Nashville, down
Yeah.
south of downtown. So he's got his own signature model amp, or did for a while there, and that's what he's using. And it is an incredible sounding amp. But the thing about it is Jack sounds that good no matter what he plugs into,
Yeah.
and that's just him, man. I mean, I've seen him play all kinds of different guitars, and if you go online, you'll see him play. It doesn't matter what he's holding; it's going to sound incredible.
I'm just curious why he prefers the Squire. I'm just.
He's got a Squire Strat and a Squire Telly, and now I will say this: he's changed some parts out and stuff on them,
Sure. Sure.
but I don't know, man. I don't know if it was just his way of telling the world that he doesn't
Yeah.
need things
Yeah.
fancy, or he just enjoys them. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I mean, my favorite guitar that I own is a completely beat to shit 1982 Fender Bullet. That like that
Right.
that like I had the truss rod broken out the back. I've had snapped the neck off. I had to put it back on, and it weighs nothing, and it's like it's all over the place. But it's just the most fun thing ever. I think I got it for like $250. I'll never get rid of it. I love that damn guitar. But it's like it's almost unplayable for a lot of people, but I kind of love that.
That's awesome. I always tell people, and I've had at my age now, I've had a fair amount of guitars thrown at me, different
Yeah.
companies and stuff,
Sure.
and the guitars that I love to play, I've found and paid for on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's we all know this to be true, but like if it just, regardless of the brand, whatever the make, the model, the year, the condition, whatever, just every now and again, if you find one that you just can't put down, you know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
can afford it, make that guitar your guitar. Like the actual, yeah.
It's got to feel good to you. And here's the other thing I will say: if anybody's listening here, is don't try to make a guitar be something that it's not. I went through that when I moved here. I bought a bunch of different guitars, and I try to. That's why I'm not much of a gear guy, I think, because I don't like to change things. Once something's working,
Yep.
I like to leave it alone, because
Yep.
if you start modifying Fender amps to sound like something else, if you want a Marshall tone, just buy a Marshall.
Right.
If you want a Les Paul tone and you have a Telly, you got to get a Les Paul. Don't try to force a square peg into a round hole. And I know this from experience. As soon as you take your favorite guitar and you try a different bridge on it, you're changing the whole instrument, because all the geometry that goes into this instrument that's making it feel great to you. As soon as you change one thing, if it's not done correctly, it'll change the whole instrument, and you'll never get it back. I mean, if a guitar's not happening, sell it.
Yeah.
Get something else.
Dude, I could not agree more. I could not agree more. People get so hung up in gear and brands and in this thing and this color and this top and all this crap that doesn't matter. Like,
visual. It becomes so visual and not you're not hearing and
tangible.
feeling.
Yeah.
And you talk yourself into things. I've been down this road a million times. Trust me. We're not, just because we're professional guitar players for a living doesn't mean that we're immune to any of these other phobias and diseases that everybody else has.
Yeah.
And so I see stuff online to this day and go, God, that's a cool looking guitar. And then I'll go play it, and it's the biggest piece of shit you've ever seen in your life. A lot of those vintage instruments are like that, man. They're heavy, and they're dead, and like, you know, not everything that looks cool on the internet is going to translate into being a great instrument.
Man, that is the absolute God's honest truth. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, it's almost every time I go into a guitar store, I don't find something that I have to have. You know, I find that there's just so much stuff, even with super high sticker prices, where you pick it up and it just doesn't ring, man.
Right. And, you know, Nashville's a dangerous place because I've got buddies here that I'll go play their guitars and come back and I want to burn everything that I've got. I mean, you go to a guy like Vince Gill or Tom Bukovac's house and you play some of their guitars. And I'm not trying to drop names, but you know, and you go Tom, and Tom's like, "Hey man, check this guitar out. What do you think of that?" You know, it's the greatest thing I've ever played in my life. Are you kidding? And so then I go home and go, "Oh God, I got to go back to my." You know, it's like I'm not gonna. Never mind. I'm leaving that analogy alone. But anyway, you know, so you know, but the good news is when you do go to the music store, like I went to Gruen's and I'll go to Carter's frequently for various reasons. I had to get some work done or whatever, and I'll go and see these guys, and I will play a bunch of stuff, and you know, go through the store and I'll play whatever is in there that I think would be cool. And a lot of times I'll come out of there going, hey, you know what I have at my house is pretty damn good. There's nothing in the store that beat what I had at home that day.
Yeah.
And so if you get to the level to where your collection or your arsenal of tools that you're using is not being blown out of the water every time you go to the music store, then you're in a good place. And if you do go to the store and you see or hear something or play something that you think is incredible, then maybe trade up or buy it or whatever you need to do to get it. But you know, I'm not a big trader or a big gear person, you know.
Me neither, man. You summed it up perfectly. If you go to the store and you try a bunch of stuff, even if you're just screwing around and you feel like, you know, I got it figured out at home, you're on it. You know, you're on it. You don't need to chase this mysterious thing.
And maybe leading into this, segueing into the education thing a little bit. Another thing about it is it's real easy to get online at night after your family goes to bed or whatever your moment of solitude is in your day, that you can get on the computer and do some mindless entertainment searching around. If you go to Reverb or wherever you're going to look at, you know, all the wonderful world of vintage guitar and amps and gear and everything that you're doing, I like to look at cars, you know, and dream about cars. So or destinations around the world, you know, that's my thing. I don't get on and look at gear very often anymore, but when you are doing that, it's a huge distraction because we can buy, you know, I can buy all the exercise equipment and all the fancy running shoes and all those stretch pants and whatever the hell we're wearing.
But are you going to put them on and go the fuck outside?
But are you going to get up on your fucking couch and go outside? You know, it's like I can order. It's like, dude, I've done it for 20 years. I've ordered all the cooking stuff, unbelievable knives and pots and spices and like, you name grills. And like, I mean, dude, spent so much money on cooking shit. And I cook the same. I can cook 3 things.
Man, that's
it. And so it's a big distraction. Like you can, like, look at Jack, man. Jack's not rich, but he's got these guitars that he uses, and he's one of the top 5 most amazing guitar players on the planet, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it just doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a distraction. It's so easy to buy all these things that we think are going to make this better, but you have to actually get your ass off the couch or get your guitar out of the case and learn something and do something. You know?
Man. I mean, it's
take some action. You got to take some action.
Yeah, it's true in music and it's true in life. You know,
what happens is you'll go your whole life and keep buying those things and realize that you're never getting there. And so you just got to stop and go, man, it doesn't matter it's always like, oh, if I would just get this. It's the same with everything. It's comparing your house to your neighbor's house. It's comparing your cars to your neighbor's cars. It's the same shit. All the same shit.
Yeah, it's surface. Yeah, it's surface shit versus like the depth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are you actually trying to get better or not? Like, what have you actually done to make your life better or to get better, as opposed to just buying things? Like, that's
Totally.
true.
And a lot of it comes from, and I'm not a psychologist, but obviously, being kind of middle aged, I'm starting to think about a lot of stuff, and
Yep.
you just think about a lot of things. I'm not a, I'm not to get too deep, but I will say that a lot of it comes from being absolutely terrified, either of failure or success. And man, you just got to get to a place where you got to do your own thing. You kind of got to put the blinders on, shut down the noise, and just go for what you want to do. I'm in the middle of it right now and I'll say this, probably shouldn't repeat this, but I'm in the process now of getting into doing some of this like documentary film and stuff because of telling my story and how it's a little bit unique and all the characters and things that I get to do here in Nashville. And I'm not bragging or complaining, but man, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm finally starting to have some serious meetings and stuff. And man, it's terrifying, but I just sit there and go, man, I'm in a town that's bustling. I know all these people. I'm doing all this stuff. Why not do this? If you can turn on the TV and go through Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these different things and see all these different documentaries and shows that all these people are doing, I go, man, why can't I do it? I'm at least going to give it a shot and know that I either failed or just continuing to do it and figure it out. Man, I'm loving being in my early 40s and being in a place where I know where I fit into the food chain, but I'm loving just getting out there and saying yes and then figuring the rest out, man. But you got to start somewhere. You got to do it.
You are speaking my language, man, and I'm excited to see some of this documentary stuff you're talking about.
It'll be fun. But it's terrifying. I'm saying it. Don't let all this noise around you steer you, other than you got to put the blinders on and go, hey man, I don't care what this guy's doing. I don't care what this guy's doing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do it my way. And if I need some outside influence, there's plenty of that. But man, you can't let the noise shut you down, man, because there's a lot of it.
Well, that, and as we all know, most of the noise comes from within. It's our own voice, telling us whatever it is. I've always been, to be completely frank, more afraid of success that I actually, could be as good as I think I could be, and I'm sitting here watching myself not doing it
because there's more pressure there.
There's more pressure, and so I would say that we all know this feeling that from the very first time you stepped on stage, or the very first time like you raised your hand in school, or the very first time you asked for the ball, like in football or soccer or whatever, when you get that feeling. You know what I mean? When you get that feeling of that fear, but then you're finally like giving yourself a chance to see if you can land or not, and if you can do it, that's what you should be doing. You should be chasing that feeling, and embracing that, because that's how you know you're actually doing the real work to get better, or whatever your goal is. So I hear it.
Exactly. And the part that I love about getting a little bit older is knowing how much you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, but also having the experience and living enough life to know that if you do jump into the deep end of the pool, chances are nobody's going to get hurt. And the things that we spend the most amount of time worrying about never happen.
True.
No?
True. It is.
Enough of that. But,
no. It's. I think we all know it's true. That the true fight is within. It's to the mirror. You know what I mean? The rest of the world is very forgiving, very safe place. We are the shit we got to deal with.
Yeah. We're
on from there.
Now that we've figured all that out.
Yeah. I am going to bring this next one up. You have David Greear here, and I promise we'll get to the education thing. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure.
But let me pull this up here. Copy link. Hey there. Oh my gosh. Let's pull this up. All right, so tee this up for me. What do we have here?
So this is a guy named David Greear.
Doing the boom and rag, yeah.
And David's been around a long time, floating around Nashville, and he is another unbelievable musician, comfortable on many different instruments, but he shines and is known for playing acoustic guitar in a bluegrass style, which we call flat picking, and that's like Tony Rice, Doc Watson, Brian Sutton, these guys, right? So you know that, but I'm just kind of telling these other guys. But so David Greear is somebody you might not have heard of, but I consider David Greear the most influential and unique flat picker since Tony Rice. I mean, listen to this guy. It's incredible.
All right, do it. Hit the button.
I'm David Greear. I'm here, wonderful Seattle, Washington. There's an R there. It's silent most of the time, but it's pronounced Washington. That's how they say it. They prefer you put that R in there. They love it. Seattle, Washington, here at Fretboard Journal. That's where I'm at. I'm right here, right now. So I got a new joke for you. I know that's why you're here. So let's see. What's the difference? You know the difference between toilet paper and a shower curtain?
Well, then you're never taking a shit at my house.
Oh, so you're the guy. Yeah, there you go. Anywho, so let's see, where do we go from here? Reckon I'm going to do a tune that has a whole lot of cross picking on the B part, and it's called the Beaumont Rag. It's a fiddle tune. I reckon it comes from Beaumont, Texas, or somebody at least must have liked Beaumont,
I love this
Texas.
guy.
I don't know. It's best not to get into the psychology of it. It's called the Beaumont Rag, is what it's called, and it goes like this. So that B part's kind of tricky, ain't it? There's a whole lot of cross picking. It goes like this normally. But I changed it around to make it less.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, man. That
Totally my jam.
That he's not. So what I love about and I love Tony Rice to death. Of course, I mean I've been listening to Tony Rice plays and sings bluegrass in the car. It's incredible, and he was the man. What I love about David Greear is he's not a Tony Rice clone. He is completely original, obviously influenced by Tony Rice, of course, and many others. But David Greear is a unique individual, and you can tell he's got a crazy sense of humor, and he's just a nut.
Yeah.
Nut. see him at the coffee shop too every day down here at Ugly Mugs. And so, anyway, but so David is just, I mean, to me, so fresh, so innovative, so rhythmic, so syncopated, so unique and original, and just a monster executor, monster ideas, monster everything, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Slick, super slick.
Yeah. But I think that people play a lot like their personalities,
Totally. Guitar players absolutely have different personality types. That's 100% true. Mm-hmm. Who was I just talking about this with? One of my guests, I had a long conversation about this with that like different genre players like literally have completely different personality types.
Yeah.
And it's definitely true. All right, let's segue into your educational stuff, because I know that you leaned into it pretty heavy during the pandemic, but I think I first saw you do educational. I think the first thing I saw you do was sitting with a friend of mine, Brett Papa, a few years ago.
Yeah.
But then I've seen you do stuff on Artist Works. I think I've seen you do. Did you do a Jam Player, a True Fire one too? What do you got? What do you got going on?
So, man, what happened was I kind of got into this education side of things on accident. When I was playing down at Roberts, I had a lot of Belmont students and stuff that would eventually started asking me for lessons, and I'd charge them $50 and they'd come over and I'd give them a bunch of country licks and stuff. And it's funny that they were going to Belmont Jazz School and still were asking me how to go from a 1-chord to a 4-chord. But
you know what? I know everybody out here watching knows who Rick Beato is. He told me that, and he made a whole video on it. He said that in all his years of teaching and playing and all the different genres, he said people have more trouble going to the 4-chord than anything else. He said that is the biggest hang-up for everybody. 4.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and so these guys started asking to do some lessons. I never thought about doing it. I'm like, man, at that age for 10 or 15 years, I'm like, hey, man, I want to show up and I want to play the guitar. You know, and I want to get paid for it, and we're going to rock on. I never thought about any of this other stuff until I started hanging with these other people and all this stuff started happening. So it's been 20 years in Nashville, so there's been a lot of stuff. But as these situations started presenting themselves to me, I said, yeah, I mean, let's try this. I mean, I like to say yes, unless I absolutely know I don't want to do something, or I'm not going to be able to share something with the situation or the project or whatever. So anyway, so I said yes, and then started doing more lessons, and then the big one was I got approached by, I did some jam play stuff a long time ago, but I don't consider that really to be anything. But then
I've done a few with them too. I know all those guys. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it just wasn't happening, and so then a couple years later, I got approached by, and this is about the time where I started getting kind of more active in social media, and people were seeing that I was kind of starting to promote myself on that, and so I got approached by Homespun to do a 3-part Telecaster series on there, and I was out laying around a pool in Tucson. I used to date this girl out in Tucson, and I'm out there laying in the pool looking at this saguaro cactus, and all of a sudden I get this phone call from Artist Works, and the guy John Graves, he goes, hey man, we'd love to talk to you about doing this curriculum. And I said, well, it's really funny that you call me right now. I said, I just got off the phone with Happy Trom's son from Homespun Tapes, which I learned a lot from when I was a kid. Sam Bush, Pat Flynn, Danny Gatton, Tony Rice, all these guys did these Homespun VHS tapes, right? Yeah. But Homespun never really kept up with technology, and they didn't do a bunch of stuff with the online thing. So John goes, hey man, look, please consider checking us out. And I said, sure, man. I went to their, he had a nice little sales pitch kind of thing, and I said sure. And I looked at their site and I saw Brian Sutton and Nathan East and John Patitucci and Paul Gilbert and all these people on there that I knew, Mike Marshall. They had all this stuff. And I said, man, if these guys are involved in this, I said, I don't even need to ask you any more questions. I said, Brian Sutton's not going to be involved in this if it's questionable at all, because he doesn't need to do it. He's doing so many sessions here in Nashville and stuff that he's not going to mess with it if it's not legit. Yeah. So we ended up talking to these guys, and we put the curriculum together, and we went out there and filmed a bunch of lessons, over 200 lessons. And I can say, man, that the Artist Work stuff is incredible. It's a
200.
Over 200 lessons. And so I spent months putting this curriculum together. I'd send them drafts. They'd send me back, hey, there's a couple holes here. We move a couple things around. Got this thing really tailored in. And so, man, the education thing kind of happened out of the blue. And so I've been with ArtistWorks for over 6 years now. I've got over 15 or 1,600 students all around the world, everywhere around the world. And so that's going great. That's one of my top 4 or 5 income streams at this point.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
And so I do that. I do private Skype and Zoom lessons. We're like more of a boutique masterclass kind of thing. You get a video and all that. And then, there's other stuff in the works as far as is the education. Brett Papa got me going on the YouTube channel, which I started a couple years ago. And so I've been doing that kind of for, using that. But the thing about the education, man, that is interesting is I didn't finish high school. I quit high school 2 weeks into the 10th grade and never went back. Me and my best friend, his name, we call him Boom Boom. Me and Boom Boom walked out of the front door of Foley High School and never went back. We literally walked out the front doors and walked down the road home.
Oh my God.
Left the building. And so the guidance counselors are calling my mom and dad and his parents, and they're going, man, what do we do with these kids? And they said they just left. And so they go, well, we got a system here that fits most kids, but it doesn't fit these guys. We don't know what to do with them anymore. So the teachers would just tell us to show up and bring your guitars and just sit out in the hallway and jam because you're interrupting these other kids in here that want to learn. We were such clowns back then. I mean, we still are, but basically they kicked us out of school and then we just left, So anyway, I don't have any formal education, and I definitely don't have any music education whatsoever. I can't read any music. I can't read any time signature. I don't know what any of that means. All I know is when I hear music, I can figure out something to play, right? So, so my lack of education has proven to make me a pretty, I'm not going to say a great teacher, but it's enabled me to explain things in a way that's coming from a professional, not a professor, and trim the fat and give you exactly what you need to know to navigate your way through music. Combine the spirit of making music with the bottom line fundamentals that you need to know your way around the fingerboard and not get lost. Because I'm not saying you don't need fundamentals. You have to know your roadmap on the fingerboard to play up and down the neck and not get lost. But you have to not lose the spirit of making music, which is the end goal with this. When you hear Robben Ford play the guitar on Tiger Walk, he's leaving his body, man, and going into a world of the unknown because, man, it's moving. And so, that's where you are trying to get with this. It's a living music to me is a living, breathing thing, and so all this other technical shit that we're worried about, gear and chord charts and scales and what scale works over what chord, those are just tools to be able to hopefully get to forgetting all that stuff and being able to play to the music that is going on around you. And that's all we're trying to do. And so I feel like I can actually kind of help these guys get there. And I'm getting enough positive feedback from it that I know that I'm kind of on the right track.
Hell yeah, you are, man. Exactly what you said shines through in the videos that I've seen.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, it's true. And I think people that have a lot of formal education make the mistake, and I know I've been guilty of it, but I didn't have like super formal education because even though I went to GIT, I never learned to read or theory or anything for the 15 years I played before that. So I was thrown to the wolves, but I knew I had an ear and I knew I had chops and I knew I wouldn't give up.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that formal education, you speak in practical terms, in terms of what are you actually going to use? What are you actually going to expect? And it's not, and you're not beholden to this specific step-by-step curriculum, which it must be done this way, or you're not doing it correctly as a teacher, right?
Right.
And I feel like so many teachers kind of get caught up in that. And I love that you always very heavily focus. It's kind of like when I watch you, it's the only other person that I feel is really, really similar is Tim Pierce in the spec that like everything is practical based on like this context, and it's like what I would do here because I'm working, and like this is what's important, and I think that there's just not much of that out there. So I think you're doing a great job. I love watching your videos.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's just it. I had there's a couple good points there, but I can't remember what they are. But I don't know. You can hear. I went to see some guys the other night, and one of the guitar players is really really good. He's really young, just turned 20 years old yesterday, and he's got it, man. I mean, he's got what you can't buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to do great things. And then there was another guitar player that got up and sat in, and I could hear his brain in his playing. When you hear guys like that, you can hear them thinking when they're playing. It's not adventurous. It's not spontaneous. It's not energetic. It's not maybe soulful or whatever it is. You can hear the thought going into it, and to me, that's not a great thing. You want to hear somebody that's put the work in, but is just flying,
Yeah. Hard to get to, but it's the right goal.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to get to. I mean, we can't teach you exactly how to feel something, but we can provide the tools that we think that might help. And to me, it's listening to a lot of music and being influenced by a lot of different things that you enjoy. If you don't like it, don't listen to it, and don't learn it if you don't like it, because that's a waste of time. I'm not good at anything I don't like. I'm a real shitty 80s rock guitar player.
But no, it's true. You make a really valid point.
The worst bro country. I'm a real bad bro country guitar player.
Aren't we all? But no, you make a really, really valid point. The converse or the other side of that is, stuff that you really, really love that you can't get out of your head. You got to spend the time and dig deep and figure out why you love that. Why? Right. What is it about that note over that chord at that time or whatever that you cannot get out of your ear? You know what I mean? Because you don't have to be everything for everybody and be this. It's okay to be a one or two trick pony, if you will. Like if that's your lane and that's what you're into, but dig deep and internalize it.
And it's important when you're learning to learn some note for note stuff by these guys. Like, I don't know about transcribing necessarily, but if you hear something in a solo or something that you really like, learn it, and don't be overwhelmed like you have to learn an entire Jack Pearson or Wes Montgomery or Robben Ford solo. Learn your favorite part of that solo, and at least you're learning what it feels like and looks like and sounds like to make the sound that you really love that somebody else is doing. But I will say this. What I love is I am willing to share every bit of knowledge and experience that I have with everybody on the planet, because I have nothing to withhold, and there's no information that I'm withholding, because everybody is going to sound like an individual. So I can show you everything I know, and you're still going to sound like yourself because you're an individual. So just when you're learning, don't try to sound like just one person. Eventually get to where you're being influenced by a lot of your different favorite music,
It's great advice, man.
Yeah,
Fancy Pants, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here. I know that these Tuesday nights have been, it's been a little questionable when we've been dealing with these copyright issues, but I think we found a good format here. Guthrie, we have two more tracks here. So
okay, awesome.
And then we'll call it an evening. And again, if you see any questions in the chat that you want to grab, let me know. And I'll keep my eye out.
Where do I see that?
Right on the side of your screen, on the side of our video, you should see the chat rolling through.
Oh, let me look at I had the private chat going. Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, so there'll be tons, man. So
wow, okay. Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and moderators, thank you so much. Good to see you all again. And while he's looking, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say, most of you probably got that email I sent out today, apologizing for not returning your other emails. We ran this promotion for about to hit 300,000 subscribers and filmed a concert. We're doing a PRS giveaway and had like the first ever sale I've done in years, and I literally got over 1,000 emails in 3 days, and So for all of you out there, I promise I'll get to you. I'm digging out of it. Your support has just been absolutely tremendous, and dude, it's the best music community on the internet that I know of. So, all right, you got a question? Should we play the track?
Play the track.
Love it. Now tee this up for us here. This is John Cleary and the Monster Gentlemen. Yeah, and we have played some of this on this channel. We are familiar with who this is.
Oh, you have? Okay. We can either play it or skip it, whatever you want to do.
No, man, we'll play a little bit because there's some people that don't know. Again, this is 8 minutes, 42 seconds. Where do you want to start?
Maybe start at the beginning. These guys take a little bit to get ramped up, so you might want to.
All right, we'll let it go for a few minutes here. I love these guys. That drummer is on it, man. Hi-hat.
We at TIE.
At the Maple Leaf. I mean, dude, that bass player, man. I mean, the whole band, but that bass is gonna be stuck in my skull.
That's another hard one, man. John Cleary is a great rabbit hole to go down. So many different influences, Cuban stuff, New Orleans stuff. What I love about that guy is just, I mean, he's just the ultimate. I just consider him and his band just the ultimate badasses, man. I mean, it's just so cool. It's New Orleans. It's like the whole thing we love. But it's also, as you saw in that song, it went on for 6 minutes before they changed keys and so or chords, and so.
Right?
No, it's like James Brown, though. Like, it's funny because you listen to some of those songs and they're hanging on the one chord for minutes and minutes and minutes, but you're not getting bored. I mean, most bands you go see that jam on the one chord for longer than a minute or so, it starts getting pretty boring pretty quick. And so these guys, man, you don't even think of it as being the one chord. They're just the groove is so relentless, and it's so funky and so deep that you just forget all about the complexity of like harmonics and all that shit,
Dude.
Just raw,
Yes. I miss New Orleans. I've been to many a Maple Leaf show. Just like Nashville, the level of musicianship in New Orleans is just some next level shit. It just is.
New Orleans, I've spent a lot of time down there too, and recently, actually, I got COVID down there, funny enough, but. Anyway, so that was last March, but so I got some really dear friends down there, and so the thing about New Orleans is that they don't care about the music industry down there. They're not trying to impress or fit into any kind of box. It's the complete opposite. If you want to go down to New Orleans and put on a pink dress and a football helmet and walk down the middle of the street at 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon, blind drunk. You can do it, and nobody's going to say anything. You do that in Nashville, they might look at you a little funny. But, so New Orleans, it's amazing because it is like total freedom of expression down there. It's like a whole other country. And in Nashville, we get a little, where we can get a little where we're feeling like, we got to stay inside the box a little bit because of the music industry being so prevalent here,
Sure. You're so right about New Orleans feeling like, it feels like a third world country, like that in Key West. Every time I go, I'm like, it is America, but
I love
is it
both
really?
Places, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's just true, man. I miss that place, and you're right about the record, the industry thing. I can see that. So many good times. Can't wait to go back. I was thinking about going to Jazz Fest this year now that they moved it to the fall.
Right.
Just because. Wouldn't it be cool to go?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Literally cooler.
Yeah, literally cooler. Thank you, William. All right, we have one more. I know I've kept you a long time here. I really appreciate you swinging by here, Guthrie. This has been a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely, and I'll throw. I don't know if it's okay to do this, but I will throw out just since we're on here. I will just say that if you want to find anything in the world of my stuff. I'm real easy to find because my name is Guthrie Trapp, and I'm the only Guthrie Trapp on the planet. So if you want to find Instagram or the YouTube channel or my website or any of my music on Spotify or Apple, any of that, all the platforms that we all know and love, I'm very easy to find. That's the only sales pitch I'll give you, but check it out if you feel like it, and I'm easy to find.
Yeah, I actually already have you linked up in the description, man. And
cool. Okay,
I know you just turned on the comments. But we have some of the best moderators in the game on YouTube, and they've been promoting your links this whole evening.
Amazing. Wow, that's incredible. Man, thanks for having me on. I mean, like I said,
and we've been getting donations, and I'm going to split that with you. Like, we are, we're a very supportive group over here. So, no, it is all promotions welcome. I'm just happy. I'm thrilled that you took the time to come on here. Like I said, I'm a big fan, and
my pleasure. Well, I'm you know what? I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I'm also I think music is meant to be treated with the utmost respect, not overthought. We got to have fun. Nobody's going to get hurt here. This is meant to. The music is the part of this that brings us together. But man, the camaraderie and the communities that people are building online, like you and Brett and our peers and our friends. I mean, it's a really amazing web of connectivity that's going on here. And I'm happy to be and flattered always to be invited to do something like this. I'm happy to share my knowledge and my influences. And I love the whole thing, man. I'm flattered to be here.
Well, fantastic. Well, I can't wait to meet again, one day and have a beer, maybe even pick a tune one time. It would be it would be a real pleasure of mine. So
anytime.
Again, thank you. And your last one that you chose features the man himself, a friend of ours, Tom Bukovac, who I didn't get to see down in Nashville. He actually told me about your show at Kitchen, and everybody told me about your show at Kitchen. He said, "Yeah, I might stop by. It's very unlikely, but I might stop by." But he never did.
So I love this guy for so many reasons, and I've been lucky to know him like you for a long time. I love Tom because he's absolutely one of the most ferocious and knowledgeable musicians that I've ever seen in my life. But he's also just a great, fun guy to be around.
Yeah.
The guy knows how to just have a beer and be a normal dude, and he's just a blast to be around. And so what I love about this clip is this was obviously shot, I think, by Ford Thurston in his old store called Second Gear Music, which was his consignment shop over in Berry Hill. And he's obviously just messing around here in the store. But there's some stuff that he plays in here that I think is just absolutely brilliant guitar. I mean, check it out.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, once this is over, I'm going to end the broadcast and talk to Guthrie off screen here. But just thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for everybody that liked and subscribed. Make sure you go check out Guthrie's links. Give him a follow. Thanks for everybody that donated. And mods, you guys are the best in the game. I really appreciate you. Here we go. Dude,
there's something that he does around. God, I wish we could listen to that one more time.
We could do anything. You kidding me?
There's a section on there. Let it play, and I'll tell you exactly where it is, and you might want to play it again. This to me is absolute brilliance right here.
Hold on, let me pull it back in here.
It's pretty close to the top of the song. Of the clip, whatever.
Yeah.
Tom's a guy that when he picks up the guitar, he doesn't play licks. He immediately starts composing music.
Yeah, that is so clear. It shines through.
So watch, it's right here. Right there. That little chordal movement is so beautiful and cool, man.
And just out of nowhere. We'll play it again one more time. That's it. That's it.
it's ridiculous. You know, the bluegrass community would call that. They would say that's some big boy stuff right there.
Yeah. All right, Guthrie, you hang tight real quick.
Yeah, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. Cheers.
Thank y'all.